Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Chamber of Mayhem! Are you ready to rumble? Moonlight! This is my time now to flash you all uncensored DrayZera! This is my time now to flash you all uncensored DrayZera UNCENSORED! DrayZera UNCENSORED! Welcome to another episode of DrayZera UNCENSORED! And this is yours truly, DrayZera, and I am in a hospitable location right now. In the car that has broken down upon arrival. I am with a member of the Suffolk Feminist Society, Thompson.
Hello.
Man, that was really enthusiastic. Don't you? Yeah, man, the crowd is all like riveted. The whole.
You know what? It's good fun being part of a Suffolk Feminist Society. Why would I not be like buds?
Damn straight. Now, the Suffolk Feminist Society. For all those that don't know, well, what are you all about? Tell us.
Well, we're actually quite a new group, and I'm not part of the core group. We have sort of different people doing different things.
Can you elaborate?
Yeah, we have a radio show, for example, Broad Agenda, which is on ICRFM, and I'm one of the team members that does that. So we talk on that every week about different feminist things. But we also campaign on various things. One of our recent things that a lot of people have been involved in was the Istanbul Convention. Talking to MPs, tweeting them, writing them emails, writing them letters, trying to get them to vote to ratify the convention, which we've done very successfully, along with lots of other feminist groups and other individual people throughout the country.
So you work in liaison with other feminist groups?
Not as such. We work on campaigns that other feminist groups are working on.
Oh, right, okay.
Because we have common cause. We're a feminist group and they are, and it all works for everybody. But we don't necessarily team up as yet with other feminist groups. But we'd be open to it because we're open to collaboration on all kinds of things.
If any feminists from any other feminist society, be it in Barcelona, be it in Indonesia, I don't know how far this podcast goes this wide. It's most likely viewers from the land of England, but anyway, that doesn't matter. Yeah, hit the Suffolk Feminist Society up. Now, one thing I want to ask is, so tell me the story of what made you, well, obviously it's a very silly question, but let me put it to you in a very simple way. What is the main drive of you being a feminist? Can you tell me the story of how you become, or like, well, not become, do you know what I mean? Like how? Yeah, go for it. Tell me, go.
Well, it starts really a long time ago. I was a feminist when I was a teenager, and basically, again, back in the 80s when I was a teenager, things were a lot worse for women than they are now.
Oh yeah.
So, being of sound mind, I thought, this is a bit shit. I think I'll try and do stuff about this. So I got involved in feminism then. I then dumped feminism pretty much in the 90s because I thought we were there. I thought this is a speeding train. There's no way that we're not going to be getting equal pay, respect, the same amount of MPs in Parliament, all of that kind of stuff. I was wrong. So then I've jumped back on it in recent years because I've realised that actually, no, we do need to still be pushing. We're nowhere near where we need to be, and there's a lot of women out there that are going to suffer if we don't all get together and make things better.
Well, one thing I want to ask is, because one thing I will definitely say, and I can use a wrestling analogy. Now, I'm a massive wrestling fan, and when I watch back 90s wrestling, there's a very good example, right? In 90s wrestling, especially during the quote-unquote attitude era of the WWE from circa 97 to, say, 2002, women were portrayed with bra and panties matches and all that kind of stuff. Today, though, women are wrestlers. They wrestle, they don't do any of that misogynist nonsense or like curtailing to all that kind of stuff, and I'm happy with that. Now, saying that, now you've mentioned about the 80s. Now, the 80s is obviously a decade that I know so well because I was an embryo in 89. But I want you to paint a picture. Like, can you give me examples and give me ideas of what it was like in the 80s for women, not just from a professional standpoint, but from a general day-to-day. By professional, I mean people in the media and all that kind of stuff.
To be fair, it's actually actually very much like it is now. You probably do know what the 80s are like because we're reliving it now. As a woman walking down the street in the 80s, I would get catcalled, heckled, whistled at. I would be accused of wearing skirts that were too short, skirts that were too long. You know, every single thing that I did was denigrated because I was a woman. I wasn't entitled to speak up in class as much as the guys were. And all of this is actually still true today. There's really very little difference. When it comes to dress codes, there are still women that are getting sexually assaulted and raped every single day, and people are saying that she was asking for it because of what she's wearing.
Oh man, that's bad. That's bad.
Still happening. There's still victim blaming going on. There's still women that are in abusive relationships that are getting beaten up, that are getting killed, and it's like, oh well, you shouldn't have provoked him. And those are the views that were strong in the 80s, and unfortunately they're still alive and well, and they shouldn't be. So we've got to work together to try and get a new viewpoint going.
And there's something to add to that. I mean, with the Jeremy Kyle show is a very good example. I mean, I know you've just like rolled eyes. I know you rolled eyes, but it's a very good example because Jeremy Kyle show is right now, and therefore saying that because it is right now, because of that, and you see situations such as what you've described, that therefore it's all right, and it's not all right. It's all existent, not all right. It's right what you say is what I mean. Just so I can clarify. I've had a long day, sorry. So as we've all have. So so tell me then, since then, when you campaigned for feminism in the 80s, what were feminist groups like in terms of back then? Because one would think that funding was very, very difficult back then for the feminist society. I don't know if it was or wasn't, but can elaborate?
Funding is something actually the feminist society doesn't focus on now.
Right.
And there's one reason for that. We don't want ours to be an exclusive society that somebody that can't afford to join has to pay to join.
Right.
So if you've got a single mother that is living there on benefits, that is having a hard time, she can still join because she doesn't have to pay.
Okay.
So we don't actually go down that funding route, which is kind of similar to the 80s. Actually, the 80s we were still under Thatcher. There was no funding for anything like that then. It was all digging deep into your own pockets then as well. So 90s, there was funding for stuff, but not now, and not then in the 80s either.
Something interesting. So we talk about Margaret Thatcher. Now, I was far too young. I think Thatcher was around till 95. Am I correct? Yeah, 95, 93. Yeah, and obviously back those days I was like 1, 2, 3. I can't remember her, can I? So tell me, when Thatcher came into power, did Thatcher, was she a strong believer in feminism? Would you say, or would you feel that? So saying that, whatever I just said, as we've just paused, it's okay. So damn them phone calls. Was Thatcher a role model for women, and was Thatcher fighting for feminism?
That's two questions, and it's got two answers. Was she a role model? In some senses, yes. As a 9-year-old, seeing her get elected, I did think to myself, women can become the Prime Minister. So in that sense, she had something to offer. Was she a feminist? Absolutely not.
Oh.
She did not. Well, she wasn't. She didn't do anything to help women. There are a lot of women, all of us, I think, to some extent sometimes, that we have this internalized misogyny. We believe that we have to be like men to succeed in a men's world, which we don't. Actually, we should be like ourselves, whoever that happens to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some women are more masculine, some women are more feminine, those sort of societal constructs of what those things are. And of course, these days, we've got a lot of people that are non-binary or transgender, and how they choose to identify is important, whether they're officially masculine or officially feminine, or what the hell ever. So, what a woman is and what feminism means to a woman has a huge rainbow spectrum within it. But what she did for women was absolutely nothing except say, you can do it if you act like a man.
Were those her exact words?
Pretty much, she did say that a few times, although, of course, the lady was never for turning, and she frequently said that she was a lady, but she acted like a man. She said that you've got to pull up everything by your own bootstraps. She was not one for handouts at all. There was no... You'll have heard of this thing with positive discrimination.
Okay.
And what positive discrimination is trying to do is it's trying to actually give people equality by those that are further behind, giving them a head start. So it's not saying that. I'll picture it this way. Imagine 3 people trying to look over a wall.
Okay.
One person is tall naturally, so they can see over the wall.
Okay, yeah.
So they have their view.
Yeah.
And then you've got the next person who can just about see over the wall.
Yeah.
So they need a little step to stand on.
Okay.
And if they get that, then they've got equality.
Okay.
And then you've got the third person who might not be able to see anything but the wall, so they need a bigger step to stand on.
Okay.
And by doing that, they've then got the equal view and the equal chance to see what's going on.
Right,
So
okay.
that's what positive discrimination is about. It's not about taking something away from the tallest person. It's about giving a little extra just to give equality or equal opportunity to those people that need it. But that wasn't what she was about at all.
You pointed out something interesting to me, that you said that feminism in the 80s and feminism now in terms of how women are treated, that you're saying that it's not, although there may be slight improvement, it's not that much different. So I'm going to elaborate on that, so not only I can understand, but the rest of the Moonlight Army, that's what I call my fans, the viewers, they talk about. So let's paint this picture here. So would you say, for example, opportunities for women are far better now than then?
Better, but maybe not far better.
Elaborate.
Well, far better, for example, would mean that we would have around 50% female MPs.
Okay.
Which we don't.
That's something that's,
we might not have exactly, because it should also be on who is the best person for the job.
Yeah.
But because we would be respected so much more, an awful lot of times when a woman was in the running, she would actually be getting the votes instead of getting the I'm not voting for a woman business going on.
Right.
And
do you think that still exists, by the way, though?
Well, you can see it does. If you just look at the figures, we don't have 50% representation in the boardroom, we don't have 50% representation in politics, we don't have 50% representation in the arts. When you, as a poet, when you're going out, you'll see some great female poets, but you'll see a lot less women on the bill in live arts than you see men.
I'm not going to disagree with you. Disagree with you. However, as you know, I can say hand on heart, because I have performed around the country. I don't just perform in this town of Ipswich that we're at, or in Bury, but when I performed at, for example, the LGBT event in Derby, it was very equal. There was transgender, there was females, there was men. Word-wise, in Derby, I didn't go to that event, but I saw the bill, because it was at the exact same time as the event. There was more than one event in Derby, that's how big it was. So there were women there as well. Also in Huddersfield, there's going to be events where there's all like a lot of, and also my events, I will tell you my events that I host, Poetic Springs, that will be out on the 23rd of March. The headliner is a woman. The main support is a mixed, I think it's Gemma Baker, Jazzle Dunn, who's a woman, just so you can clarify here, and Luke Murtigoid, otherwise Billy Pigram. That's a good balance right there.
Exactly.
And male and females, there's a whole good mix there. So while I say in poetry specifically, I think there is a better balance. However, I will agree with you in that in other forms of art there is an imbalance. But I'll flip to you another way. Oh, there's a So, for example, I think it was other events. I don't know if it was Reading and Leeds or Download Festival, one of those. I think there was a huge lack of female representation, which I think is very, very sad. But one thing I will also add, I just want to clarify here, so I can understand. And so, let's just clarify this. So let's just say if there are 40,000 male MPs to 7,000 female MPs, right? Obviously, there's no way, even by anyone's remedial maths, you can't get 50% there. Yeah. But are you more working towards the whole closer to 50-50 from the grassroots level? Like, for example, your child, Jay, for example, if Jay wants to go up there, and, be a politician, although non-binary, but sort of counts, right? You feel that maybe people with non-binary may not have the right support? Because I know that's coming up there, but going back to feminism,
it's harder for non-binary people and transgender people than it is even for women, which is why as Suffolk Feminist Society, we are as inclusive as we can be.
Right.
And we welcome people that are trans and non-binary into our ranks if they want to come.
Okay.
But
All right.
yes, I mean, the thing is, with the grassroots level, it is about getting women into politics and into whichever positions they want to be in.
Right.
But recognising that there are difficulties and there are things that are hampering them, and that also these things are hampering men, but in different ways.
Can you elaborate? Yeah.
Childcare. I mean, we all know this terribly trite stereotype about women do more of the housework and they are the ones that suffer in their career because they are expected to be the child carers. Sadly, it's still true to a large degree, but that is something that a lot of men suffer because of as well, because they don't get the same family leave. We're working towards it and it's improving, and feminists are very active in that front because it helps us.
Right.
If men who want to have time with their kids get that time with their kids, helps the entire family unit. But yes, as we still suffer because we are not going to get necessarily the promotions, sometimes we don't get hired because a woman is looked at and they're like, oh yeah, but is she going to get pregnant in the next couple of years? Are we going to spend that money on training them because then they're not going to be at work? You know, and I can see it from a business owner's point of view as well, because I've been a business owner. I know it's difficult. I know you're then spending and investing your money. So we've got to get these things balanced up so that men can have more time at home, if that is what they want, are seen as more caring, not just put in this pigeonhole of being macho, masculine, you've got to go out and do the hunting, but can actually have careers that they enjoy. I mean, poetry is not necessarily a traditionally male thing. People don't say, oh, I'd love my son to grow up to be a poet. That's not the first thing they think of.
I will tell you this right now, my mum,
shouldn't they? To do whatever the hell they like, just like women should.
Yeah, ballet is a good example.
Absolutely. And that is what feminism is about. It is about equality. Very much for women, of course, because we are still, sadly, second place. But in doing so, helping men as well, not discriminating against them, opening up new opportunities for them.
All right. Well, and this brings us to the absolute main reason why we are here on this seat right now. Now, for all those that do not have me on social media, I wrote a status based on a conversation, a Twitter conversation between one member of the Suffolk Feminist Society on the Suffolk Feminist Society Twitter handle and a lady from around here that I'm not going to mention names. She asked, why aren't men in the Suffolk Feminist Society? Now, you've mentioned just now about helping men. You've helped men right there. Now, granted, I was not expecting 1 bazillion comments. And when it comes to monitoring, I will tell you this right now. When you're at work, because I was at work for most of that whole time, right? There's no way I can monitor it. And also the fact that, let's face it, I mean, there's no human way that I can monitor that speed. No way. So I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to bring this up right here, based on what this female, I'll say it's a female, it's a female person that has said this, that she wants to ask you and all the Suffolk Feminist Society. So let's say.
Why aren't men allowed in the group?
Yeah, so not just that, but before you answer, I'm going to bring this up. If a safe space, as you typed this to me, if a safe space comes up, remind them that it is important to differentiate between a victim support group and a feminist group, as understandably victims of abuse need a safe place and victim support group is suitable for that, and it may consist of feminist women, and as a victim support group should exclude men due to the sensitivity of the circumstances. However, but it's not necessary to exclude men from a feminist group, which is about mutual respect between sexes and not excluding the other sex, which is what you are suggesting with regards to men at your group. And this is what the person said. Now, you can answer, and I'll leave it to you. Go for it.
Okay, well, first of all, when I joined the Suffolk Feminist Society, it hadn't been decided that the Facebook group, and that is all that is saying that we won't allow men in, would do that. What happened was it was actually put to a vote of the members, and there was a long discussion about it. So there was a lot of members there, and myself included, that felt it would be of benefit to have men there. That is absolutely where I was coming from. Let me finish, because I've got a lot to this, shut up. woman is talking. All right.
I was just going to.
No,
I was just going to.
no,
Okay.
Thank you. So,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of other women in the group that felt the same, but there were more that were worried about a couple of things. And one is the safe space thing, so I will come back to that, but that is not the only thing. The most important worry, and one that a lot of people voiced, was the fact of getting stuff done. We want it to be a group where we can actually get stuff done. And sadly, a lot of times when you have men in the group, they throw in so many other things that need to be done that you don't end up doing anything. Because every time you're putting something up and you're talking about this, it's like, well, what about that? Well, is it really feminist to be doing that? Shouldn't we be doing this? Shouldn't we? It's like, well, we should be doing something. So can we start here and do some other stuff? And actually, your comment and the comments that came in below it really, sadly to me, proved that actually right now, in order to be a group that goes from being fledgling to actually taking flight, we do need to keep to ourselves. And there's a couple of other points on that as well. Women are spoken over a lot. We get men explaining stuff to us an awful lot. And actually there's a lot of women that need to learn to speak for themselves, and they need somewhere to do it where they can. So that's one thing. Now when it comes to safe spaces for victims of abuse, yes, they need them. But actually they don't need to have just safe spaces where they're put in a corner and that's your safe space.
Okay.
For a feminist society, actually these are the people we need to be embracing. We need to be allowing them a safe space within the feminist society, not saying, yeah, great, you can have your safe space, but not here, because here we've got to pander to the men as well. Right now, right here, actually they deserve to have their safe space and their say, because their voices are very important. So although it seems a little bit exclusionary, it's not, because the page isn't exclusionary, the events are not exclusionary. We invite men along to the events, as you know, because you've been invited to one of them before.
Yep.
And we do want men to come and join us and learn about what we're doing and help and do what they want to do. And quite frankly, we'd be very happy if men were stepping up and starting their own feminist groups and starting to help in their own way. But I don't see why there's any reason why they have to always do it in the same group that we're already in. It comes back to the same thing as well with educating. It's not up to feminists to educate every single man. You're clever people. You can educate yourselves. You've got Google. You know, shouldn't always be down to us. And interestingly, a lot of the male feminists that I know, when they post really interesting stuff on their pages about what men can do to help, 0 comments. None of the men get involved on that. So, and certainly a lot of the comments on yours, there were quite a few that were completely disingenuous, and some that were very, well, quite frankly, abusive. You know, straight away in with the feminartsy stuff. I mean, for goodness sake, none of us need that. That kind of abuse also, you know, it should be dealt with when it happens.
Well, it's very, very interesting, because I feel that obviously when you type on Facebook, and this is one of the main reasons why I wanted a member of the Suffolk Feminist Society to come, is to just say their piece in a nice, relaxed environment. Now, obviously, I will say this. When you got 3,000 something friends on Facebook, there are no way that I can vouch for everybody's opinion.
I'm a social media expert. I've got a lot of friends on Facebook and Twitter and so on. And what I would say is you don't drop controversial comments like that when you cannot monitor. Okay. So next time, do it, great, but do it when you're home.
Okay,
if you're not going to be home, don't do it.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a nightmare.
Well, I feel that in hindsight, I'm just being honest here.
Well, we all learn.
Absolutely. I mean, the way I see it is this. I wanted to put that status up because, for me, I wanted to put the question over because I feel that I just felt that people may have strong opinions. Well, obviously people have strong opinions.
And that's great.
Yeah.
Strong opinions are good.
Yeah. But I will ask you this in regards to this. Now, away from the men, women, there were women there that were sort of disagreeing with the Suffolk Feminist Society stance, because
just like there are lots of men
that
disagree with other men about things. You know, not all feminists are the same. We've all got a whole range of views. That's why we need women conservative politicians, women Labour politicians. You know, everybody's got different views. That's all great. No problem with that.
Yeah.
Come and talk about them. And as I say, we had a vote on it, and I was on the losing team, which is fine. You know, it's not a problem.
I see. So, moving forward, because I feel that what we need to do is to have some sort of solution, because the thing is that I'll actually bring up somebody else that somebody else has said. I'll bring it up in a second. One moment. Yeah, I'll bring it up, and it's a very interesting point that we can elaborate on, and I think it's something very interesting to point out. So a friend of mine who is male, I asked him his personal opinion. It's a bit long, but he said this. My friend said, simply put, men and women are living creatures with thoughts, feelings, dreams, who laugh, cry, make mistakes, have successes, and eventually will die. Oh, it gets very dark quickly. We are all on this ship called life. No one should be superior to another, be it by race, sex, orientation, or by manner of things. Humanity is humanity regardless of what genitals and hormones you have. Modern day Tumblr generation feminist elitists who don't in any way represent feminism, Islamic extremists that do not represent Muslim culture in the same way. People want to throw weight around and control power and will use noble effort's name to justify it. I'm a white man. Some say that means I'm privileged, and maybe they are right, but my blood is red like the black man in my local shop. I feel emotion like the Chinese family I order from my takeout, and if I saw a woman in need of help in a hijab, I would offer help. We are human beings. We may have differences and we may come from different cultures, but the sooner we treat people the same way we want to be treated, the better our world and our children's outlook and others will be. And that's what he said. So what do you want to say to that?
Well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but nobody is trying to be supremacist here.
Okay.
The feminists are not trying to be supreme. We are trying to be equal. And men have safe spaces and should have.
Yeah.
You know, we all have different hobbies and things that we want to do and things that we're interested in, whether that's politically or socially or anything. Fine, have your space. There's nothing wrong with that. Men have had safe spaces for donkey's years.
Yeah.
You know, they've had golf clubs and gentlemen's clubs and so on that women were not allowed into.
St. Andrews.
And to be fair, if you were going to be really pedantic about it, then women should have that for a couple of 100 years, at least, without men having it in order to make it fair. But that's not what we want.
No.
That is not what feminists want at all.
No.
We're not even about redressing past wrongs. We are about just saying, okay, let's try and wipe the slate clean, and let's try and aim for equality, and an equality that helps men, that helps women, that helps trans people, that helps black people, that helps white people to be loving and equal and living the life that they want to live.
Okay.
So that's what I say to that.
Interesting. Well, I'll end it on one final note. I will say this. I feel that after talking to you, I'll be completely honest, and I'll be straight up and honest with you.
Yeah.
Now, I came from a culture that is heavily misogynist.
Yeah.
My dad is an absolute homophobic, misogynist, blah blah blah. But he was born in 1937 in Bangladesh.
And honestly, I have sympathy for that.
Yeah.
You know, people are brought up the way they're brought up, and they're not necessarily bad people.
Yeah.
You know, it's just not been brought up with the views that would make them as loving as we would like them to be.
And as a result of that, I feel that growing up as a little kid, I probably had a slight misogynist mindset, being honest, but then growing up and learning more about people in general, I have developed me not only loving the idea of feminism, but like I said, I was more than happy to support the Suffolk Feminist all-day event for the Feminist Hour. And I want to do what I can to support feminism. And interestingly, even though this individual that will go unnamed, even though this person completely rollicked me for putting the status up, blah blah blah, but you know what? For me, first and foremost, I have a strong shell. I'm happy to take it on the chin. If people don't like what I do, then they have their opinions. I'm strong with that. But what she did say, though, is that because of where I am right now, performing all around, and the fact that people actually react to me, that means that not only I have strong social media engagement, but that
Yeah.
also means that I have a powerful voice in order for me
Which
to
you can
put
use.
absolutely, and that's why when I go to, because I'm going to be performing in Asia in April.
Yeah.
Woo, performing in Asia. Because of that, I'm going to try and support feminism there. Like, you know, try.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Good.
exactly. But I feel that on a final note, you're right in saying that males that want to study up on feminism, they don't necessarily require you.
No, of course
guys.
not. They're intelligent.
Absolutely. But what I will say is that I feel that eventually, this is my honest opinion. I hope one day, this is my absolute honest opinion, because people say, oh, you don't put you just put statuses up and don't say anything. I will say that one day, if men and women can work together in the specific group, like not just all, because I know there are feminist groups that have men and women, but in this specific group of the Southern Feminist Society, and if everything's safe, everything's fine, and things move forward, then I think that's great for everybody. Wouldn't you agree?
That's brilliant to hear. So I know you're going to be working on the men that you know to get them to that point where we know we can invite them in, and they're sorted, they're hitting the ground running, they're there behind us, beside us, helping us, not in front of us, not lecturing us or hectoring us.
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
I know you're going to be working with that on us. And
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant, because I am a complete believer in male feminists and male allies.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to keep proving me right, aren't you?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And I never wanted to come across as somebody that is misogynist or anything like that. No.
And do you know what? Even as a feminist, I'm a feminist that's still learning.
Yeah.
We all are people, and we're all still learning.
Absolutely,
so,
yeah.
When we know better, we do better, is a very famous feminist said.
Absolutely. And so, as we are heading to our destination right here, I'd like to thank you very much, Jem, for your time. I really hope that it was and the lift. Oh, thanks for the lift as well. Thanks very much. Yeah, I really appreciate it, and I really hope that it was all awesome for you, and I hope that this interview was alright for you. If you're happy with it, were you happy with it?
I loved it.
No worries.
I look forward to hearing it.
No worries. Well, thank you very much for your time, and cheers.
Thank you. Bye.
Hello there, Moonlight Army. This is me, DrayZera, with another episode of DrayZera Uncensored. So, where am I? You can hear a bit of train noise. Well, I'm in Leicester currently trying to get a connecting train to a performance that I'm going to tonight. By the time this comes out, it would have been long gone, but I am recording on Friday right now in Leicester with the significant news that last night Claudio Ranieri, their manager, has been sacked. And I have to say, a lot of social media have said that a lot of fans are shocked, to be honest, that Ranieri's left. I mean, there are a lot that are up in arms, including myself as a neutral. I mean, let's face it, a few seasons ago, Leicester always have been in relegation scraps of the Premier League, fighting to get to the Championship. Before that, struggling in League One. You got to have some perspective here. I mean, it's ridiculous that, there's a possibility they could go down the season regardless, but come on, let's get real here. I mean, what they did last season was it's absolutely magical and spectacular. And yeah, I understand that Leicester have been massively underperforming compared to last year, but come on, like, let's be fair. A lot of the Leicester team can't get into other Premier League teams. A lot of the players performed way beyond their capabilities due to team spirit, tactics, and the fact that Mahrez and Vardy were shooting on all cylinders. It's absolutely incredible. Now, what next for Leicester though? I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, sure they can hire someone, sure they may get off relegation to have a new voice, but I don't know. Nobody likes managers getting sacked, and I suppose that we're in an age where results mean the world. Results business at the end of the day, and it's just really upsetting when somebody loses their job. And you'd think that winning the title last year, with a team as improbable as Leicester, let's face it, it just feels really bad. So, that's my 2 cents, unfortunately, and just, yeah. I was shocked last night when I heard the news. I was editing videos, I was like, what the hell? When I saw it on my ticker feed, like, what the? Why? I mean, even with the 2-1 loss against Sevilla in the Champions League, it's flipping Sevilla. Sevilla's been firing on all cylinders in the Spanish La Liga. I just don't understand. I mean, it's one of those where I feel that another thing that was mentioned, I think Jamie Carragher mentioned this on his Twitter, and when he talked to Sky Sports when the news broke, is that a lot of the players really have let themselves down. They have massively gone missing, a lot of them. And sure, the manager should take the blame to an extent, but Ranieri isn't bad. He won the league with Leicester. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely crazy. And yeah, let's face it, I don't think it's a good chance that, I really think it's a good chance that Leicester's not going to win the Premier League again in my lifetime, and I'm quite a young person. So, I don't know. Any Leicester fans, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think. If you're listening to this podcast, please leave your comment below, because I'd like to hear your opinion. I mean, by the time this comes out, we'll probably have a new manager for Leicester. Yeah, so I guess that's it, really. So, since I recorded that while in Leicester, I'm like, what? I'm angry. I'm very angry at Leicester, because I'm now here recording after the game between Liverpool and Leicester, and they literally trounced Liverpool playing the Leicester way of last season. And as a Liverpool fan, I'm pissed off that we lost, but I'm more pissed off as to why the hell did Leicester take so long than just click into gear. I know they beat Man City like a few months ago, but they just clicked, and I'm like, why did you do this earlier? I mean, why? I mean, I'm being honest here, right? I really feel sorry for Claudio Ranieri. My opinion hasn't changed. But I'm very pissed off with Leicester, and literally, if you guys, I really want, like, literally, I want a U-turn. If there is a campaign for Claudio Ranieri to come back, then please do so now. Right. Anyway, Moonlight Army, we are now into the final section of this podcast this week, and it is the Poetry in Bed Poem of the Week! Poetry in Bed Poem of the Week! I think I need to make some sort of intro to that. Yeah, anyway, so every week, I'm very happy to get poems sent to me. So if you want to send any poems and have that poem be displayed on the podcast, please email me at DrayZeraCreative@gmail.com or message me on social media, either facebook.com/DrayZera and twitter.com/DrayZera. So, this poem is called Patience, and it is by James Laurie. He messaged me the other day, he sent me this, and let's get down to this poem. Right, let's go. I touched on an idea there for a moment, of possession and repossession, of dispossession and time. I reached out to the world to lay the claim and smooth my way through the pain, and yet still they lie, coiled across the path, taking away my life and turning it into a tale of two halves. Patience, my friend, patience. Woo! Good one, James Lowry. Right, man. If you want to check out his stuff, his Facebook page is... I think it's Facebook. It is facebook.com/Shadow the Poet. And if you want to check out his WordPress, it is www.ijameslaurie.wordpress.com.
yeah, I'll send all the links on the description below on YouTube. I will also put the links on where I share it at. And yeah, I guess that's it for another week of DrayZera Uncensored. So, I'll tell you what I'm doing next week, actually, before I close off the show. So next week, I will be in Lincoln on Tuesday, performing there. Performing for the Against the Slam. I'm loving it, and I'll get to be facing against Leanne Moden. I cannot wait! And by the time this comes out, I would have also performed Shaving Grace, Leanne Moden's poem for the Coventry Spectacular. I'm really am pumped for that. And I shall be performing at Howl, Birmingham. I am so pumped for that. I am so excited to be performing in Howl. I don't care if it's 5 minutes, 1 minute, I don't care, man. It's better than a quickie you get in the alleyway. Not that I've ever experienced that myself. Ha ha ha! And on Thursday next week. Literally, I just got an email from the whole shebang. Blah, 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 blah. Great to hear from you. Thanks for your interest in taking my whole shebang. I pass your details down. I'll be in touch with you further. If you have any questions, blah, 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 blah. I look forward to... Yeah, alright, I'm officially... Yes, awesome. Just now, I'm officially performing at the whole shebang in Stowmarket. What perfect timing on March the 9th. I think it was 99% confirmed, but that just damn confirmed it. So Tuesday in Lincoln, Wednesday in Birmingham, and Thursday in Stowmarket. Right, Moonlight Army, thank you very much for your time at DrayZera Uncensored. Thank you very much again for Jem Thompson for the interview from the Suffolk Feminist Society. That was a lot of fun. And spoiler alert, I have to tell you, I did not enjoy the fact that we were interrupted 1 bazillion times due to her car breaking down when she was car parked outside the station waiting for me for the interview. It was funny. Now I can look back, it was funny, but I did not enjoy it. But anyway, Moonlight Army, thank you very much. Tune in for next Saturday, 7 AM GMT time for DrayZera Uncensored, and I shall zera later. The DrayZera Uncensored. DrayZera Uncensored.